I'm Mina Kuper. 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. And I have a very special guest with me today. And I've gotten to know Chris more and more the more time we spend together talking about these super important things that people don't know about. It's like, who looks under the hood of their car and really knows what's going on? Probably, if I looked at it, I would look at something shiny and think it looks good and it functions properly. And that's why we're going to talk about sewer lines today. Chris from LaRocca Inspections is super knowledgeable, and he's a pioneer in this business doing inspections. And if everything looks shiny to you, it may not be shiny inside. And so, Chris, let's talk. We took off from last time we spoke about sewer lines, and it's super important. You ever drive by a neighborhood or an area and doesn't smell good? So, these are really important things, even though you may not see it, you may smell it, or you will be smelling it. So tell me a little bit about what people should know about sewer lines.
Well, the interesting thing is, thank you, Mina, of course, as always, for that.
I throw you off with my funny stuff, right? And
Totally
maybe I
fine.
should do a sitcom
Totally.
next,
We
right? My
probably
next
should.
show, right?
I think we would do well at
You
it.
and I.
I think it's important for your listeners to understand that, to your point, the sewer line is most certainly out of sight, out of mind, because it's interesting. Not to get too graphic, but if the tubs are draining and the sinks are draining and the toilets flush, why bother?
It's all good.
Right, it's all good, right? But who's the first person? If you're entertaining and you're having a dinner party, and at 7 o'clock at night you're putting dinner on the table, and all of a sudden your electricity goes off, what do? You light candles,
Right.
right?
Right.
You light candles. You turn on some lanterns or
Yes,
whatnot, and you
yes,
have your dinner party.
Yes.
Well, at 7 o'clock and your toilets are overflowing, you stop the dinner party.
Yes. You certainly do.
And you call the plumber. So I think it's important for people to understand that there are things that are lurking, if you will, in your sewer line that can only be detected with a proper sewer inspection. I started Sewer Line Check Professionals in 2004, and I had already been an inspector for LaRocca Inspections for 5 years at that time, I think. And I was coming from a background of being a plumbing contractor. So sewer lines were very real to me. I understood
Important.
them.
They were dear to you, right?
Exactly. Many people don't know that the property owner is responsible for the main sewer line. And the main sewer line, let's make a distinction here. The main sewer line is the portion of the sewage waste system that is exterior to the structure. It's not the pipes underneath the structure. That's the building drainage system. They do all connect and culminate into the one main line, but that main line starts outside the structure and connects the waste piping system to the sewage disposal system. Now, that sewage disposal system can be public or private. So it can be the city sewer under the street, or it could be a septic tank in the backyard or in the front yard. So it's important also, I think, for your listeners to understand that because if they have a septic tank, many people think, well, that means I don't have a sewer line. Yes, you do. You still have that pipe connecting the structure to the disposal system. The point I was making, though, is that if it is connected to city sewer, the responsibility is on the property owner for the care, maintenance, repair, and/or replacement all the way to the city sewer. Okay, so that, in this case of this building here, if it goes out to this street, it's going to be under the sidewalk and under the first
Right.
lane of traffic and so forth and so on. So if the line were broken and it needed to be dug up and replaced, the owner of this property would have to cover those costs. A main sewer line replacement is typically, on an average, $15,000.
Wow.
And it depends on the depth and the distance, of course.
And can you avoid those charges if you keep maintaining your sewer lines?
Most sewer lines, if they are maintained on a regular basis and examined with cameras on a regular basis, and if there's not any significant damage in the sewer line, then typically you can maintain. The most common issue in a main sewer line in Southern California, the two most common issues, one is root intrusion from the trees,
Right.
and the other is seismic activity damage, because when the earth
Right.
moves, these pipes have a tendency to crack, especially the ones that are most common, which is vitrified clay. Vitrified meaning kiln fired. So it's a clay piping system that is installed underground, and the joints are sealed with mortar, a mortar-like substance. So over time, the moisture in the ground breaks down the mortar, and the roots get into the pipes. Now, normally, it's a matter of maintaining with regular sewer cleanings, typically mechanical, snaking,
Right.
sometimes a more aggressive method of such like hydrojetting. It's a high pressure
Oh,
water.
interesting.
Yeah, high pressure water. And normally that would be enough to maintain the line and then regular examinations. But unfortunately, when the roots become so intruded that the joints themselves are no longer able to keep anything
I had that
back,
experience.
right, and we start spilling sewer water into the ground,
It was not lovely.
or even to most cities, more importantly, the rainwater, the groundwater gets into the sewer system. Because I don't know, I know a lot about sewer lines, so I don't
No,
know
but
how
it's
much you
so
want me to
important. Well,
share.
I mean, the thing is, okay, so for instance, a little while back, we were renting a house, and all of a sudden I hear, I'm like, well, what is that? I have aliens
Right.
somewhere. And I realized that the toilet was starting to bubble, right? And supposedly the landlord fixed it, prior to us moving in, but that was not the case. She said, well, you can't use toilet paper. I said, I said, I'm not going to put it in the trash. That's disgusting. We're paying a
Yeah.
lot of money to live here.
Yeah.
I didn't do that when I was a kid, way back when in an apartment building. I'm not going to do it now. So, lo and behold, we finally got Roto-Rooter or some other guy. She wanted to save money to come, and they gave her a very high price. Apparently, the roots of the trees were wrapped around, and it was old, the piping. She refused to do it the proper way. And finally, she found someone because we said, well, we can't do this, right? We got to find a way. We have a family. We're living here, and this is horrible. And so they had to dig under, they had to dig under the house and crack open all the cement and really hydroplane it and replace pieces because they were so bad. They showed me pictures of these vines wrapped around. Now, how far, like after you have this, completed, how often does someone know? Because being through it personally, it was not a fun experience, and it took him a while to fix it. And he had to dig the concrete. It was just a lot of work, and it was
Right.
noisy and it's smelly. How long do you wait in between inspections?
We recommend main sewer line inspections after any significant seismic activity to check for damage. And if it's a particular type of pipe, at least annually. If we discover that the pipe, let's say, is nearing the end of its
Yeah.
service life,
Right.
like if it's made out of metal, cast iron,
Interesting.
cast iron has a typical service life, typically 80, 90 years, depending on what foundry it was made out of and so forth and so on. Some of the newer cast irons a little bit less, the older cast irons a little bit more. But when we see a cast iron pipe that's still functioning, in other words, it is conveying
Yeah.
the sewer, away from the house
Right.
safely and into the city sewer, then we would recommend, depending on what condition we're seeing it in at the time of the inspection, regular video examinations so that we can maximize the life of the system. It's like anything. It's like tires on your car. If you have 70,000 miles type of tires on your car, why would you change them at 35,000
Right.
when you can still get a few more miles, right? It's the same thing with a sewer line. It's designed to last a certain life, and as long as it's still doing it, it may look old, but it's still functioning safely and properly. Let's maximize that life and maximize the dollar, the homeowner's dollar, by then in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, letting them know, okay, now it's time to really, replace the line. I told you last time I was on, I was going to tell you a couple stories about sewer
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
If you don't
Because,
mind.
no, I don't, because people really don't walk around talking about sewer lines and
That's right.
thinking about it. They'll think about plumbing, but to a certain degree, whether it's leaking on the bottom under the sink or something like that.
Those
But-
things that they can experience.
And yeah, exactly.
and see.
But you don't want to wait till what happens that I went through because it is not fun. And apparently, as I heard, it was very pricey for her to do it because she waited so long to do it.
Yeah, the plumbing, obviously, there needs to be a very high integrity
Yeah.
kept on, the plumbing, because we are dealing with a health potential health
Yeah,
hazards
I mean, it's
if the plumbing
disgusting. Yeah,
system
I
is
mean, who
not.
would ever think about those trees and vines wrapping around it and clogging it up, and that's what
Exactly.
happens. Well, yeah, tell me some stories. You heard a little bit of my story, so
Well,
tell me.
here's a story for you. I was out on an inspection, probably in 2005 or so, and I was running the camera through the line, and I got the camera out just past the sidewalk, and all of a sudden my camera's just looking at this void of blackness, just
Oh,
empty space. Now, normally, for those of you on Facebook, I'm looking inside a pipe, and you can see the pipe.
too
right?
bad we didn't have a pipe.
I know, that'd be cool. Hi. But the camera sees the inner wall of the pipe. So when there's no pipe there, it's seeing whatever else is outside of the pipe. So in this particular case, I was looking at this big void, and I dropped the camera into this void, and I sort of looked around with the camera, and I recognized that just off about 3 feet in front of me, I could see the rest of the pipe. So a section of the pipe about 3 feet had decayed and broken apart. And as the sewer water is coming down the pipe, it's taking the soil underneath the street, sending it down the other side of the pipe into the city sewer. So it's digging a hole. It's creating a void. Now, we see on the news, all the time of these things. They're called sinkholes, right?
All the time, and it's scary.
Yeah, very scary.
I mean, these people just drop. It's
Houses
horrible. Oh my God.
have fallen
I mean,
in.
that's so scary.
Yeah, streets collapse.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is what I discovered, and this is most certainly what we would consider in the inspection industry a significant issue that would require immediate attention. And I went inside to do the briefing with the agents and the client, and I let them know this is what I discovered, and it's an unfortunate circumstance,
Yeah.
but yes, this is something that needs to be repaired
Sure.
as quickly as possible. And it's going to be a costly repair because, again, as I said, it's underneath that street. It was probably about 6 feet deep.
And you have to break it up.
Yes,
You have to open
you have
it
to
up.
cut
I
open
saw
the
it
street.
firsthand. They just cracked that baby right into the ground.
Traffic control, permits. You need
Right,
the metal
right.
plates, so forth and so on.
Goodness.
It becomes quite costly. Anyway, I think I estimated somewhere around $18,000 for this particular fix, and the listing agent just was livid, up in arms with me, thought I was being dramatic and alarming and so forth and so on. And
Right, get him out of here. But, you can't hide that under the rug because it's a liability for the agent.
well,
Should they not, do their due diligence, and people are gonna be mad at you.
yes, and the agent, unfortunately, was basically saying, "Look, when you flush the toilet, does it go away?" And I said, "Yes, but it's not going." Well, then he was like, "Well, then the sewer's fine."
Oh my God.
I said, "Yeah, but it's not going to where it's supposed to go,
Right,
okay,
right.
and it's causing a major problem." Anyway, long story short, about 2 weeks later, I was in the neighborhood this is in an old part of Los Angeles. I was doing an inspection, and I happened to be driving by the house, and there was a black Mercedes-Benz sitting in a sinkhole right outside the house. The street had
goodness.
collapsed right where I marked it out
Oh,
where the broken
goodness.
sewer was.
Oh goodness.
And the listing agent was on his cell phone, screaming into his cell phone
My
about
goodness.
his car.
Oh my, talk about,
yes.
wow, talk about karma.
Karma. So I think that particular listing
Oh,
agent
my
believes in doing sewer line inspections.
learned his
this
lesson,
day.
didn't he?
Learned his lesson. Right.
OMG.
Yeah.
Isn't stories like that are, unusual, but they do happen. I have several stories that run around that kind of concept. I think at the end of the day, you should do the right thing because somebody's watching wherever they may be, and karma's going to get it.
Right. Whoever they may be and whatever you believe, absolutely.
Yes,
it's going to come
just,
around.
Yeah, whatever goes around comes around,
That's
right?
right.
That's been around for a long time. That's
Right. That's right. Yeah. And that is a great example of out of sight, out of mind.
Did you laugh though? No, I'm only kidding. How could you? No, it's terrible. Terrible
I
question.
think I chuckled
but
inside, but outwardly I was like, oh yeah, that kind of, that's not
No,
right.
That's a terrible question.
But no, it's fine. That is a great example of out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
The owners of the house had no idea
No,
because
who thinks
everything
about
was
it?
working. You made a comment earlier or asked a question. I don't remember what exactly it was, but I think you were asking like, how do you know? When to look at or what's the
cue?
indicator?
Or there's no
Right,
cue.
exactly,
Just put it
what's
on
the
your
cue?
calendar
There's only two ways to know.
to
One,
do it.
something manifests itself inside the house.
Right.
The
and
shower
something
stops
doesn't
draining, the
smell
toilet
weird.
backs up.
It's
yeah.
bubbling,
It's
gurgling,
bubbling, like your
something's
story.
weird
Exactly.
happening. Right.
Something's brewing. Um, or you actually have a video camera sent down the pipe,
Right.
to see what's going
And
on.
much less invasive than waiting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I had made the distinction between the main sewer lines and the building drain line systems before. We have cameras, and we do also offer building drain line system inspections, so that we can actually look at the inside of the pipes underneath the house.
How do you do that? Do you have to break in?
No, there's things called cleanouts. Okay, these are access points.
Oh, I see.
Okay, like if you're walking on the outside of a house and you see these little things, little pipes
Little
sticking out of the
drains
walls.
or pipes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and we open up those caps and we send the pipes in.
see.
We can sometimes get up on the roof and go in through the vents, the
Interesting.
vent pipes. But this is an important inspection, especially for a house that's on a slab that you can't crawl underneath.
Right.
Like the home inspector can't go underneath the house, and let's say the house was built in the 50s or 60s or something. It's not a bad idea to have those pipes looked at with a camera underneath the house via access of the cleanouts.
That's really amazing, and we're going to be right back because we have to take a break. I never know how to say that, We'll be
We're
right,
gonna be right back. We have to take a break.
Later. We'll be back in a few minutes with some more interesting stories, and I do have some of my listings to share with the audience. They're at a probate, and I think there are some good deals out there I want to share with you if you know anyone that wants to buy. I'll be back.
At Substrata, they're dedicated to be your go-to general contractor. They are a premier builder of high-end custom homes from the ground up, major remodels and expansions, multi-unit construction, and commercial tenant improvements for both retail and office build-out. Their focus on details and personal attention have been constant from conception of the project to completion. They build stories not with pen and keyboard, but with steel and manpower. Visit substrata.com or call 424-702-5700.
Felicia Dorado Insurance Agency specializes in your small business, homeowners, auto, umbrella, and life insurance needs. Their personalized staff is passionate to help you save money while keeping all your valuable assets covered. During these times, many people are concerned about insurance and getting the best value for their dollar. Felicia Dorado's Insurance Agency understands this and approaches each situation uniquely. Felicia Dorado's Insurance Agency has friendly hometown customer service reps that are ready to help you today. 661-288-2001.
When it comes to buying or selling your home, there's no room for error with your money. That's why Precision Escrow is the company you need to know. When selling your home, you want to make sure you're working with a company that has your best interest and keeps your money safe. That's why they use encrypted emails and secure trust accounting. Precision Escrow will follow the contract in detail from the beginning to the end and protect the parties involved. Working with Precision is like working with a huge family. Everyone is always smiling and cohesively working together for you. Check out their 5-star Yelp and Google reviews and see how they separate themselves from the competition. Whether you use an agent or sell your home yourself, they'll give you 30% off your transaction, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Use code RADIO30 to take advantage of the savings. Call Lauren Fredette, your representative, for more details. She's available 7 days a week during and after office hours. Call toll-free 877-393-4101. Let them help you through one of the most important decisions of your life.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. And I do want to talk about a few minutes about my wonderful listings. I have a 7-unit income property in downtown LA, and it's a great investment property. And if you're interested in knowing more about it, please call me at 310-345-8500. I also have a great single-family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Camarillo Heights, and it's Sunday's gonna be the last day for offers, and it's really a great opportunity for people. So again, call me. I will be in Camarillo this weekend for our last showings, and my number again is 310-345-8500. And if you know anyone who needs to talk about their property and have me review their assets or talk about trust, probate, and estate planning, reach out to me because I'm in that game. I'm in that world very heavily. So if I can direct you, even if it's not real estate related, reach out to me at 310-345-8500. So now we're going to get back to, I wonder how the sewers and then those places are. But we're not talking about it. They're okay right now. I'm only kidding. And all of a sudden, blah. No,
Well, make sure you advise your buyers
yes,
to get sewer inspections.
yeah, well, they're going to get,
We can find
yeah,
out.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
we can find out.
Hopefully I get the buyers too. That's the idea.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe another agent's buyers, but
Yeah,
whoever gives us the best price. So the sellers, I'm working for the sellers. So
Of course. And that's
whatever
exactly what
needs.
you're supposed to do.
Yes,
Get them the
it's
best,
not about me, it's
the best
about them.
price. That's right.
But I'm bummed.
But
Tell me more about your sewers.
Well, let's see. Here's another important little fun fact for sewer lines. In, I think it was 2008 or 2009, one of those, the city of Los Angeles adopted a new policy regarding sewer lines in homes that were built prior to 1965. Prior to
You get taxed on them. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Prior to 1965, the main sewer lines underneath the streets were oftentimes made from a concrete type of material. And we no longer use that particular type of concrete, and it's no longer allowed under our city streets. But the policy that they adopted came from the Department of Engineering for the city of LA that basically said that anytime a building permit is issued for a house that was built prior to 1965, that will trigger an automatic sewer examination assessment by a city official, and then they will determine what shall be done with that sewer line. And if it's found to be made of concrete, it must be replaced or otherwise upgraded or rehabilitated at the property owner's expense.
Wow.
So for buyers and or sellers, if they are thinking, most certainly if they're thinking about, let's say they're going to buy it and they're going to maybe they're going to add some square footage in the back and make a new master suite or something like that, that's going to trigger it because that's a building permit.
Oh, interesting.
So before the city will sign off on all the permits and issue the certificate of occupancy, they will require that inspection. And if they find a concrete pipe, you may as well add $15,000, $16,000, $18,000 to the
Wow.
budget that you're probably already over on.
Interesting.
You know,
And especially with COVID, everybody's home using bathrooms. So now is even, because it's getting used more
Right.
now. And so I'm sure there are people having issues.
You bring up a great point, which is something that I usually discuss when I'm doing a sewer education class for real estate agents. And that is, let's say you're purchasing a house from maybe a couple who's lived there for years, or maybe one person, especially in what you do. Maybe there was one of the spouses passed away, and now the other one has to sell the house.
Right.
And they've been living there forever, and he or she has been staying there for a while, and they report basically to the new buyer that they've never had an issue with the sewer line. And then the new buyer says, okay, great. They take that disclosure and they're fine with it and they accept it. They move their family of 4 in, or 5. You just mentioned the usage. One person in a house using a sewer line, does not produce nearly as much water or waste that goes down into that system. So if that sewer line does have trouble in it, it's not manifesting in the house. If you've got 100 feet of sewer line and you've got this clog down at 80 feet, one person can fill that sewer line up in a day's use
Wow.
of usage, but it won't manifest in the house. Now, 4 people wake
Oh.
up, take showers, do laundry. All of a sudden, showers are overflowing, tubs are, toilets are clogged. Now, all of a sudden, a condition that did exist at the time of that sale now is manifesting itself.
Yeah.
So another good reason to actually have a camera sent down
Right,
there.
and because we're still, people are starting to loosen up a little bit, but we're still in the pandemic, and people are still home, and probably will be for a long time, for the most part. And I think now's a good time to check your sewer lines because you don't want to. Believe me, it was not fun. It took a lot of time out of my time to deal with it because I was living in the house. And Chris, I think people need to reach out to you because people are not thinking about it. Now they are, right? So, while we're on Facebook, people can actually call in now if they have a sewer line question, if they wanted to.
I'd love it.
Patty, do you have a phone number? If they wanted to call in, we can open it up for about 3 minutes. If you have a call or a question, if not, you can comment on the Facebook link, the KHTS Hometown Station on Facebook, and ask Chris questions, and he can reach out to you later if you're busy schooling and Zooming. He could do that. But if we have a couple of minutes for people to call in. Patty, what's a good number for them to call?
I'm actually looking into that right now. Give me 1 sec. I just got to find it.
Your listeners also can go to my website.
Oh, and I love this. Yes, and I want to put it on my website.
Oh, wonderful.
I just think, guys, this is so important. I think that this will give you parameters of what you need to start looking at, or your family's house, of parents that are going to be selling in the near future, or apartment buildings that you own, whatever it is.
That's right.
I mean, now's a good time because probably not a lot of people are in them right now, or office buildings,
Yeah.
because people are not going as much. So now's a good time to clean up.
I think we're going to see a lot of things manifesting itself when people get back to work and
Yeah.
the office buildings are being filled up and so forth and so on because they haven't been used in a long
Right,
time.
and that's another thing. It's like if you don't
Create
start,
problems.
if you don't start your car.
Yes,
I know in
exactly.
New York, especially, right?
Exactly.
And it's cold out, and you don't start the car for a little while, your car won't start anymore. Your battery dies because
right.
it hasn't been used.
Right.
So.
And actually, I now have our number. Our number is 661-298-1220. Again, that is 661-298-1220.
So if you want to call in, you got a couple of minutes to do so. If not, Chris will see you on Facebook, or please call him because, like I said, he is the man. Even though you may not want to hear about it, but you do. Because it'll haunt you later. Do you know, I know that there have been times where people, other agents didn't want to disclose things. And I wasn't in the deal, but I've overheard them talking in offices, not where I am now, over the years. And they were like, oh my God, I hope the inspector doesn't tell anybody. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why? I said, because they're going to come and sue everybody. And they just spent a ton of money buying a house, moving in. Can you imagine? And all their stuff got ruined because there was a flood. And I mean, deal with it, because you can't sweep it under the rug. You really can't. It's going to come out, Secrets don't last.
Right. I'm an advocate for disclosure.
Yeah, and then
Full
you work it
disclosure.
out. It doesn't mean you're going to lose the deal.
Right.
Nothing bad is going to happen.
That's right.
You just get it done. If somebody will pay for it, you work it out. Who's going to pay for credits or whatever, you figure out a way. But, a lot of people don't see these things because it's very far and in between that people say we should do this. And they don't want to deal with it, and it's a liability. They can sue you. I know you have insurance if you're an agent or what have you, but still, it dings you. You don't want to have insurance claims because they're not going to be happy with you, and then your insurance stuff goes up.
Yeah.
So
You're also talking about personal integrity and reputation.
Yes. That's right.
And that's very important, especially in this industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you want to be the person that's very thorough. You know, when people call me, they know that I cross my T's and dot my I's. Otherwise, I don't want to do it. I don't need money like that. I want to make sure buyers get what they're supposed to get, sellers get what they're supposed to get. Everything's on the up and up. There's no shortcuts. There's no quick money here. You know, as real estate agents, we do well when we do a sale. And, you know, you should work for your money. You know, you're not doing your clients a justice, and people refer people.
Right.
And they'll say, well, why didn't the agent tell me to do this? Or somebody, you know, and then they don't want to talk to you, right?
I
And
think sometimes that fiduciary duty is forgotten about. Or
yeah,
like,
that's
ooh,
right.
yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
kicking them out,
So
like kicking
important.
the tires, especially now. It's like, you know, properties under $1 million, like hotcakes.
Yes, exactly.
They're waiting on, you know, it's like it's a free for all. It's wild market. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
You know, but I do want to tell everybody we're in plexiglass here, so we are safe to be with. We're encapsulated in plexiglass. So I'm happy to say that. So, Chris, do you want to end our sewer systems with a note?
God, there's so many stories. It's one of the most important inspections because it can end up being one of the most costly, and as you have experienced, potentially traumatic things to deal with. Sewer in a house is unsanitary.
And then you can't use your bathrooms.
It's unsafe.
What are you going to do?
Exactly.
You have to actually go to a hotel almost.
Like I said, when the power goes out, you light candles. When the toilets overflow, you stop what you're doing and you call a plumber.
I mean, you get a porta potty out in the backyard. To
Exactly.
Family.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That's gross, you know.
Exactly. So it's just a very important system. It's a minimal cost. Your typical sewer inspection is about $325.
That's nothing.
In a transaction, oftentimes that can return, thousands of dollars. When I started this business in 2004, approximately 95% of the sewer lines in the entire city of LA and the surrounding area had a condition occurring within it that required attention.
My goodness.
To the tune of a
Crazy.
couple thousand or more.
Yeah.
So it is a very common problem. There are common solutions, and the method of solving sewer issues has developed. Many more methods now are available to the the person who's
Yeah.
paying for it,
Yeah.
which potentially can keep costs down as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get your
And-
sewers
and-
inspected.
Yeah. And what's your website again, so everyone can go and download? Of course, you're going to put it, Thora or yourself will put it on the
Facebook.
comments.
Yeah,
on
she'll
Facebook.
put it. Thora will. It's
And-
www.laroccainspections.com, and you can go to my website and get your free copy of that, and enjoy. It does actually have some information about sewer lines as well, and chimneys and mold and regular inspections and so forth and so on.
Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. I can be here for another hour with you. Unfortunately, my show is only an hour because I'm a talker too, and I think you and I together we can talk for hours.
We probably could. Well, there's a lot to talk
That's
about. On
so.
this,
Besides
on
there,
these subjects.
chimneys and more stuff, and
Yep,
it's
yep.
just endless. Zonings and inspections, and if your sewer line runs on someone else's property, there's all kinds of
Oh,
stuff.
I didn't even talk about that.
Right?
You're right.
I mean,
You're right. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
going to be for later because, that could be an issue too,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
But, I do want to give time, to charities and people that have a story. And because, they may not be able to tell their story to others because I'm fortunate enough to have this radio show. And you never know who's listening. And so if it helps someone, then I'm happy. 'Cause
Absolutely.
It's not only about making money; it's about helping others, and
Absolutely.
that's what makes me happy. Of course, I like a little money too, but you got to pay it forward. You really, help people. So we'll be back with a really important charity foundation. And I want to thank you again, Chris, from LaRocca Inspections, and I hope to see you soon.
You bet. Thank you so much for having me
You're
again.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
When it comes to buying or selling your home, there's no room for error with your money. That's why Precision Escrow is the company you need to know. When selling your home, you want to make sure you're working with a company that has your best interest and keeps your money safe. That's why they use encrypted emails and secure trust accounting. Precision Escrow will follow the contract in detail from the beginning to the end and protect the parties involved. Working with Precision is like working with a huge family. Everyone is always smiling and cohesively working together for you. Check out their 5-star Yelp and Google reviews and see how they separate themselves from the competition. Whether you use an agent or sell your home yourself, they'll give you 30% off your transaction, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Use code RADIO30 to take advantage of the savings. Call Lauren Fredette, your representative, for more details. She's available 7 days a week during and after office hours. Call toll-free 877-393-4101. Let them help you through one of the most important decisions of your life.
Felicia Dorado Insurance Agency specializes in your small business, homeowners, auto, umbrella, and life insurance needs. Their personalized staff is passionate to help you save money while keeping all your valuable assets covered. During these times, many people are concerned about insurance and getting the best value for their dollar. Felicia Dorado's Insurance Agency understands this and approaches each situation uniquely. Felicia Dorado's Insurance Agency has friendly hometown customer service reps that are ready to help you today. 661-288-2001.
LaRocca Inspections provides 4 of the most needed inspections when buying or selling real estate, and homeowners love their property reviews. Since 1994, they serve the greater Los Angeles area and its 100-plus communities. Schedule residential or commercial inspections for your comprehensive reports. Their inspections can save you money on repairs. Go to LaRoccaInspections.com and download the free guide to inspections. Call now for your free quote, 818-951-1795.
At Substrata, they're dedicated to be your go-to general contractor. They are a premier builder of high-end custom homes from the ground up, major remodels and expansions, multi-unit construction, and commercial tenant improvements for both retail and office build-out. Their focus on details and personal attention have been constant from conception of the project to completion. They build stories not with pen and keyboard, but with steel and manpower. Visit Substrata.com or call 424-702-5700.
I love it.
Right on!
Your hometown station.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, and more. And the more is important. What's the more? The more is having people that need to be heard because, especially in the pandemic, there has been a lot of domestic violence. And I don't even want to think about it, but, you know, God knows what else that nobody's looking at and seeing. But we have wonderful people like Kellyanne Collins, who's an executive assistant for pinkbags.org. And pinkbags.org is a charity that helps people in domestic violence situations and have a place to go and a place to be heard and a place to get help. So, Kelly, I want to introduce you to everyone because right now, especially right now in lockdown, it's such a big issue. It's just, I can't, I have no words to talk about what people have been through anyway in a normal situation. But during the pandemic, it's been, I'm sure, very bad. So, can you tell us about your Pink Bags organization?
Yes, thank you, first of all, for having us on. And I say us because Natalie is the CEO of this. This is her baby and her project. I have just come aboard to volunteer while she has stepped down for a little bit because she's had back surgery. So I'm kind of her eyes and her ears and her spokesperson for the moment. While domestic violence is also near and dear to my heart, I am also a survivor like Natalie. And so my heart is in the foremost of this project. So this is just something I'm just doing. This is where my heart is also. I really appreciate that Mina took a minute to have us on today because we are doing a charity fundraiser till March 18th, and you can find that information on the pinkbags.org page. And we also, Natalie has put together a wonderful conference of hope, and that is going to be April 24th. and that is a live event, and it's free. It's online, and you can also get information on the pinkbags.org, or you can actually go and sign up for the event. Like I said, it is free, but it's the Pink Voices of Hope, and it's on eventbrite.com at Pink Voices of Hope. So there's those two things that are going on. And Natalie also has her pink bags, which is amazing. They are a purse, and they have wonderful, wonderful beauty products. They also have journals and a pen and note cards, and everything in that bag has meaning behind it. Natalie personally puts them together herself. And what Natalie does with those is if anybody wants, once again, it's on pinkbags.org. You can go on and purchase one of those bundles, and it will go directly into one of those pink bags so that she can, or I can, distribute them to transitional shelters to make women who have been survivors, have been through domestic violence, have an opportunity to feel beautiful again and start new.
Do you have, in the comments on KHTS on Facebook, you can put your information, because some people may be driving as well. Where it's a good place for people to reach out to that need someone to talk to that are in situations.
Right now, as far as that goes, I just learned this morning of a site that I guess it's actually through Mary Kay products, and they were saying that you can text 22522. If you text that number and you're in a situation, that is one way. Another is I have a couple of law enforcement officers that I've also been befriended during these times, and they've also promoted and posted that if you do call 911, you can even just stay on the phone. If you're in a situation where you can't talk, if you just dial it and put your phone somewhere, you will be found. And I know there's a big thing going on right now on TikTok where the lady did the pizza, called for pizza. That was an actual real situation. That wasn't a joke. She actually was in a situation, and that's how she thought of a way to get out. She actually called 911, but was ordering a pizza.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was really, she wasn't ordering a pizza. She was really trying to get help. And the 911 operator caught on to that and sent help to her in time.
Amazing.
So a couple of the officers' suggestions have been you can call and act like you're talking to your mom, a friend, anything that's going to keep you safe and not alert them.
Right.
But that is the biggest thing. One of the things that for myself, that I have done when I was in a situation is you plan ahead. Because, we all think we have a perfect life until we get into it. And then we always have people that tell you, well, I would have done this or I should have done that. But when you're in the moment, it's really hard. So I've learned now, and I made sure that I had all my important documents and things that I needed. With children, I had like a bag packed. And if you have an opportunity or a window, as we call it, take it. If it means saying, hey, I see you need some more beer, or I see you need cigarettes, get those kids in the car and get out of there and
Good
get
advice.
to a safe spot.
Good advice, yeah. And I can't wait to be more involved, because, children are so dear to me, and families and people, and no one deserves that. And unfortunately, there are people that are not well that are married to people that become recipients of this kind of behavior. And I'm so happy that people like you and Nancy that are out there to help people and to help them get through it and make them feel whole again, because it's so important. And please, when you get a minute, put this information on the Facebook chat on KHTS Radio, so people can look at it when they have time or they have that window, because, I've been hearing things through the grapevine of much needed help. And, it's just amazing to have people like you give of yourself. And I know it takes money to push this out. And unfortunately, some of our monies that people contribute to, we don't know where that goes. But, something like this is really something so important. And I don't think it gets enough attention in the nation, right? Because you guys are nationwide.
Right. Right now we're in Phoenix, but we're wanting the conference will be nationwide.
Right.
And she's wanting to get in all 50 states. Yes, we really want to get these pink bags out to all 50 states. But right now we're just in Arizona for the pink bag, but that's her goal and
That's
her heart
wonderful.
to get them.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to you guys for the first time, it was so touching, and sharing with me all that you've been through, and how you need to pay it forward, and the people that you've helped. It's not, and not that it's forgotten. It's almost like there's not enough emphasis on it, right? There's not enough noise, I would say, especially now when people aren't visual as we are in a normal world. So,
Right? And people are afraid.
yeah,
People are afraid.
they have nowhere to
get
go.
involved
Where are
and
they going to
help.
go?
Right.
Right?
They have nowhere to go. Right. Yeah. I'm in the process of working on getting all my credentials so I can start working on a shelter, because that's where I'll be working with Natalie also. But I also want to start a domestic violence shelter, because there's just not enough of them out there.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
And people can change names for safety and do all kinds of things. There's help out there so you're not to be found
Yep.
by your predator. So, there's all kinds of ways to hide and live a normal life again.
Yeah,
So,
there absolutely is. There is help, and don't let anybody tell you there's not, or you have to stay, because, like I said, there's help, and documenting is a wonderful thing too.
Yes.
Anytime you can write things down, because when you're in that situation, trust me, till you're there, it's really hard, and it's hard to, it's hard to think when you're in that actual situation afterwards you can sit back and go, well, I should have done this and I could have done it. But
right.
when you're in it, it's different.
It's like anything, the anticipation of anything, whether it's a divorce or buying a house or anything, is just nerve-wracking, right? It's just after you do it, you're like, oh my God, one less thing off your plate that is so draining. So again,
Right. When you have a house full of kids, and they're your children, and they're going off on you, your only fear is you've got to try to stay alive and do whatever you can to keep the children safe. So
That's
there's
right.
a lot going through your mind when you're in that situation.
Exactly. And, I want to thank you again. We're going to be signing off. My show is over. I should probably have a 2-hour show because there's so many people out there that need to be heard. And I want to thank you so much for sharing today. And again, go reach out to pinkbags.org and go on to Facebook. Kelly and Nancy are going to post on there so you can share with everyone you know. Again, thank you for listening to Listed by Mina Kuper.